converse and hang out with everyone up here. Like I said, we'll definitely be hitting the comments as the space goes on. So be sure to leave something interesting down there. Share a little bit how your week has been going, what you've been up to today, maybe what you've...
I am streaming live. For Gallery Meets Media from On-Chain Media. It'll be vibe coding as well. I have that going on here in the other thing, so just streaming this whoever wants to watch or listen.
For the space, and honestly, it was some of the messages that Rachel had said. She credit where credit's due. We got to give credit where it's due. Rachel had kind of brought up this topic around trust, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's run with it. It kind of goes in tandem with a post that I had put out just within the last day or so, and I mean, some of it kind of more so pertained to spaces and space etiquette, but I know that there's certainly things that we do here on a regular basis where we're, again, investing a lot into being here to building connections and relationships. You know, as some people said, we're collecting friendships. I'm like, you know, that's a good way to put it. I haven't heard anyone phrase it in that type of way, but I'm definitely a fan of that. So again, here continuing to collect friendships and continuing again to do what we can to not only, you know, share about things that we're passionate about, but to share, you know, different experiences that we're, you know, constantly kind of, I guess, having happen to us in lifetime, or we're hearing from other people, whether it's in the past or ongoing stuff too with other people. So again, I know a lot to share on this topic, and again, it's something where we just want the conversations to flow. Of course, there's going to be times where, you know, we don't always agree, but you know, there's always a place here, I think, to just feel safe to share, to talk on certain matters, and still be, you know, respectful and professional about it too. So that being said, I know we got some other friends who jumped up here. Want to pass it around to some of the speakers that we have, and of course, you know, if you guys can't make it up on stage, but you want to contribute to the conversation, please. I will do my best to read said items to make sure that those get addressed. Want to make sure we're not skipping anyone if, again, for whatever reason, time can't permits, or maybe it's late. I know it's later for some people. It's hard to jump on the microphone with a full house or whatever the circumstances may be. But Rachel, I'll pass it over to you. And I think Waldo was maybe one of the first people up here, but I'll pass it to you first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to touch on the topic for tonight. And listen, we do want to let this conversation flow. I love in these spaces. Listen, I love rabbit holes and going into little philosophical discussions. So we're totally open to this going in different directions. But just an anchoring theme for all of this is, what do you think is the key to building trust in a community? I mean, not just in the on-chain space, but when building a brand or building a company. I mean, I can start with an insight from one of my mentors, somebody that was training me in my early days for public speaking, who was a public speaking coach. And something we discussed is the law of familiarity, and it's showing up, right? The repetition in showing up in a public facing way where people begin to see you more frequently, trust you, hear from you. So I think the key, something in my career that I feel like has helped me, is just showing up over and over, building that muscle memory of showing up, speaking in front of audiences, hosting shows, doing live streams. And if you're looking to build a brand, especially like a public facing, like media personality, media brand, I think that's essential. It's the law of familiarity. So I'll just start there and open it up for anyone. I mean, Waldo, if you want to start with an introduction and maybe your thoughts on like what is the key to building trust in communities, I'll kick it to you next.
Well, I mean, it's definitely coming down to the consistency and the familiarity. Um, but like that itself can't be solely defining because anyone could just show up to spaces and bullshit us. Let's be honest. Um, to build trust in the space, you actually have to be a trustworthy person. And that comes down to essentially how are you building when nobody's looking? Um, and even when people are looking, like they're going to take notice to the actions of that you've taken when nobody was paying attention. And being, you know, thoughtful of how you show up in those regards, but as well as like, building in the earnesty. Like for me, I'm passionate about building and showing up, authentically and with integrity. And that resonates. People see me relentlessly showing up, on the timeline, doing what I have to do. But that's also like not, just for face. That's because I genuinely care. And that level of care, I think, essentially is defining in how you're building that trust network because people are paying attention out there in the trenches. And then you show up into spaces like this and having honest, transparent conversations, just being an actual person, not the shilly project we got to fucking pump to a million. Like it's just all not realistic. But if you're building again by the brick by brick and taking it the one at a time, you can build those genuine relationships. You can take the times and moments for all your friends and fam around you that have been supporting you since day one. And that builds your level of trust, but it also builds your level of confidence, consistency. It's essentially what you gifted me when I first started out like 2 years ago in the trenches was literally bringing me up on stage because you trusted me. But you trusted me because we built those relationships over time. You've heard me speak. You also know me as a person for me. Um, and that takes a long time to get to know someone on those intimate
I'm gonna work on
levels,
putting
to
together like
build those connections,
ways
which
to be able to
ultimately build
figure out who's
trust.
speaking,
And in
putting a
my
waveform out here.
playbook, the most valuable thing out here in Web3 is
If
the
anybody knows that
trust
idea, let me know.
aspect. It's more valuable than any crypto that you could find yourself in. If you could find um, your people within a trusted network, you can really do wonderful things outside of maybe pumping your bags to, fucking moon bags or whatever. But like job opportunities, speaking opportunities. There's the list goes on and on when I say like the magic that has happened now is our community, like through the roof as far as like market cap. No, we're still a small community, still out here grinding. But as to Rachel's degree, the consistency aspect, showing up relentlessly because you're passionate about it, not just, even on the days that it might be a little harder to show up, you should still show up, but also be mindful about, taking the time for yourself when you need to take that time. Like if you're actually out here grinding and you've built that trust with people, they will understand when Dev needs to take day off or co-host or host needs to, get some rest time because we all work extremely hard out here. And those hours and hours of work, that's what build the trust. That's why we show up. I trust you too to, give me the time and patience as I'm still trying to learn and grow in the individual that I am, but also I look at you two as mentors. So fantastic conversation as far as, the topic because it's something that I frequently think about. I'm also something that I'm very passionate about because I take our loyalty, our friendship, the family that we've built here all very, very seriously. This is why, regardless if I hold your project or don't hold your project, if I love you as a person, I'm showing up every single day and I'm, putting my best foot forward and giving it my all. So that's all I got.
Wow, mic drop. Well, we love you, Waldo, and super grateful for you. I mean, man, you are like the first person here on this space, I think. Like the way you show up. I mean, something I look for in communities or, project founders is leading from the front, right? People that show up. I mean, one of the reasons I started building on base in particular is because Jesse Pollock took the time in my DMs messaging me, like kind of guiding me and showing me the way to build on base. And I think to me that always impresses me when you have like a project founder, CEO who takes the time for like grassroots community initiatives to onboard the newcomers. To me, that is another thing that indicates trust. Like, okay, this person leading this big project is actually taking the time to talk to me, and this is day one for me, you know. So I think that's another thing. But anyway, I'll halt my ramblings here and pass it back to Peanut.
No, it was absolutely wonderful, Waldo. And I know for each and every one of us, we have different experiences. We have different different people in our life, that to some degree have an influence on us. Where maybe we're a little bit more trusting of people. For some, maybe it takes longer. It's looking at, hey, what are certain things that can be done to kind of add to credibility, to someone's reputation. And there's also things that I'm sure we've all experienced or seen where somebody does something and you're not quite sure necessarily how to respond, other than just you don't want to be near just the trust, whatever kind of connection was there. It's no longer there. Maybe sometimes that can be repaired. Some things, I know, for some, are beyond repair. And so, to me, there's not really any sort of shortcut. There's, again, certainly different actions and things that can maybe lead to it being bolstered and to be solidified, but there really isn't any shortcut. And I think a lot of us have been able to experience that and see that, again, for the good and unfortunately for the worse, being here in this space, in this industry, where you really get to see where people's intentions are, if it's greedy for selfish reasons, or if it's really, again, to try and provide something that's of benefit for people. There's kind of a fine balance to it. Of course, I know I've seen people who are so outwardly focused that they neglect themselves and they don't take care of the basic things that need to be taken care of. So, a couple of thoughts there, but want to pass it over to some of our other friends. And I know we got a pretty full stage. No one needs to jump off, but we do have a little bit of room. I think we got one more spot, but we'll keep it passing around. Waldo, appreciate you jumping up here. Love the new Yucky Duck that you're rocking this week. I did like the last one. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't mean I don't like this one. But the other one had like some nice vibrant colors, which I was definitely a fan of.
Listen, my duck got yucked, and I think he might be going to jail, bro.
Mm,
We could talk about it later. I'm heartbroken, but
heartbroken. Okay.
this duck is not a snitch, and he might bail him out. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Ooh, time will tell. I love when yourself and others get creative about some of the stories or some of the lore that you make. So we'll see where the story has been developing. But let's pass over to some other friends. We got a friend of mine I know that I've actually met in quite a few different communities here on X over quite a long time, actually. Happy Hot Wife is up here. Wanna Again, I think something important too. I love bringing all sorts of different people, as I said, into these spaces, and the Thursday space too. I think it's important just to have good representation of people from all different backgrounds, all different lifestyles, whatever it may be. So again, I just want to reiterate that, because I know sometimes, again, people maybe feel like they're not welcomed on certain stages, and I always want to do my best to be inclusive, to give people a chance to speak and share. And I know that, again, we got a lot of great people coming through the space here tonight that I sent an invite out to. So just want to put that out there. But Happy Hot Wife, how you doing?
Thank you, Peanut.
I would love to kind of hear from your perspective, because again, I know that we've actually connected and met in some different communities online, and now I know that we bump into each other on the timeline, and I know that you've been frequenting different spaces. What would you say helps you, or what would you say has helped you in the past with different communities that you've been a part of at one point or another? What really has helped you have any sort of or sense of trust with people? Like, what are some of those things that you're looking for?
Well, I have to say, first of all, this is my third space that I've been in, so I'm pretty shy. Um, I know I'm open out there in the public, um, but speaking wise, I'm pretty shy. So, you know, I just have a, you know, you go with their gut is what you need to go with for trust.
I'm totally there with you. There's certainly something I know for a lot of us here, or at least a handful of us. We interact very frequently with people on X here, and I know that for a lot of us, that's just kind of the starting point. I know there's actually, I know some events coming up. There's NFT NYC coming up, and I know a lot of people are going to be heading out to the East Coast and probably meeting up for the first time. And I know loads of people that, will probably be meeting for, who knows, the 10th time. And so, some of those in-person events, I always tell people, and you've probably heard me talk about this too, but those in-person events they're so pivotal just in terms of, like you said, it's just kind of like your gut instinct. There's something about being face to face with people, and you kind of, and again, as I'm sure you have in your career with all the different people that you've connected with, associated with, worked alongside,
Right.
you get to read people's body language. You kind of get to see their facial expressions, how they treat other people.
Yes.
And what would you say are some of those turnoffs, even, or what would you say are different things that have maybe led you to almost kind of maybe your perception or your outlook of someone has changed based on some sort of like experience in person, where maybe you had or kind of a viewpoint or perception of them, and then once you met them, or there was maybe some sort of business dealing or whatever the case was, there was maybe something that shifted. Is there particular moments that come to mind maybe?
So I have to say, I believe, you know, I am so picky and so strict in who I allow in my bubble. And the thing is that, knock on wood, I have not had any surprises. Um, People have been who they are, and it's just been, I love it, you know? But I do go in there with a negative mind, as I should not. But yeah, it's just, my husband and I, we had a bail bond company, bounty hunters for 15 years. And I kind of learned how to read people then too. So, and then I have 4 boys. So there's that.
You have plenty of experiences where, well, hopefully not too often, but there's maybe times where they're trying to kind of fiddle their way out of a question, and you're like, hey, just just tell me the truth.
Yeah,
Hey, we can relate.
exactly.
I have 4 brothers. I raised most of them, so I know exactly what he's talking about.
See?
They're
You,
different.
yeah. I mean, you just, so, but I have to say, I've been in crypto and I've loved the communities. I've tried to help everyone I trusted. Um, but it seems that it's just been really hard to get back into spaces again. I'm trying to get away from crypto and just more, promote myself and let everybody know exactly what I'm trying to show the world. I mean, I just want to be an educational source for the hot wife lifestyle.
And it's fascinating to me, again, is you said kind of transitioning away from even some of the groups or some of the communities that we had kind of initially bumped into and met, and as you're saying, a little bit of a time of transition, and just want to say appreciate everyone's patience. I know we'll move to some other speakers as well, and again, you guys are welcome to stay up here. Don't think you have to dive off stage or do anything crazy, but over, I guess, kind of this transition, like you said, as being an educational, or kind of being like a resource, educational resource, what would you say are, I'm trying to think of kind of the right way to even
Mm.
say it. Would you say that there's been maybe certain people that have even, I guess, kind of as you're trying to be more of a resource and educate yourself,
Oh,
Again, with
absolutely.
like, would you would
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
it's more like women. I mean, it's very surprising, how many women reach out to me more than men. Um, I mean, yes, I do have men reach out to me, but it's for different reasons. And the women are more like, you know, they want to hear it. They want to know that they're not alone.
They probably want to hear, that there's someone that they can kind of confide in,
Yes.
and even kind of have that trust. And to me, it's interesting how, for whatever reason, and I've been this way too, just with different struggles or challenges in life. Sometimes it's going to a stranger or someone that maybe you don't really know, that doesn't know, about kind of your personal journey or baggage, however you want to, how people
Correct.
describe it, where it's just
Yes.
there's something like freeing or comforting of just being able to kind of go to someone. And and I always find that fascinating how, yeah, even the people that we trust the most, we know the best, sometimes they're like the last person that we want to go to. you,
100%.
you
And
know
that's one thing, when I came out with the songs and the book, um, I was really scared to tell our family.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I think our boys were like, yeah, we know, yeah, no, they know. We know, mom. But family wise, like I said, nobody would ever guess our lifestyle.
Hmm.
So
Well, I'll say this: I appreciate you jumping up. I know you don't usually do spaces too often, so it's incredible that you'd jump up and
absolutely.
even just be willing to open up, or trust me to kind of have you up here again. I know that there's times where not everyone is maybe as lenient or unfortunately as accepting to have people come through, and it's just like, what, I think it's important to, to give people a chance to speak and share. Like, even if people, don't agree with other people, like, what are we? We at a point in life now where just because maybe we have different viewpoints, we can't, like, we can't have like like a mature, like, adult conversation. Like, it's become quite sad how a lot of people see it. But I try, again, I like to go against the grain, and I like to just, again, have a place where people can, like I always say, feel safe and welcomed and encouraged to share whatever is kind of on their mind.
Well, I do appreciate you. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Say, I know we got another. Well, actually, we got a lot of friends, not just another friend, but we got a lot of friends up here. I know Derpy Dave may be crunched for time here, so I want to get him into the conversation. And I know we got a couple other friends up here. I know we got Chris and Katie and a bunch of other great people. So appreciate you guys jumping up here. But Derpy Dave, how you doing, my friend? Happy Tuesday.
I just want to say I love that name, Derpy Day, and the PFP. Seriously, it's one of a kind.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pina, having me up. Rachel, it's a pleasure meeting you. Hey, Rachel, is that a stash background?
Yep, I actually so on our last Gallery Beats Media, I aped in, I changed the PFP. We had our man One Eye Willie up, and friends Rob Banks as well. So I got basically brought in. Yeah.
That's awesome. They're good friends of mine. I actually won stash 2 months ago. I was the stash winner, but they're all good friends of mine. Willie, One Eye Willie, he's a homeboy for sure. So that's cool. I
He's
noticed that.
awesome.
Yeah, they all are. They
I
are.
want a homeboy
Rob
like
Banks has
One-Eyed
been
Willie.
grinding. Anyhow, listen. Thank you for having me up. It's a
That
pleasure
sounds
meeting
weird.
you. I digress. I will hit this hard and quick because I know there's tons of people here, and yes, it is my bedtime soon. Thank you for acknowledging that, Peanut. I'm an old grandpa. I need to go to bed. But leads to trust. It depends. Like, are we talking about communities in general, like crypto communities and online?
I would
You,
say like the first thing that comes to mind with this is building a community, building a brand, but also like your personal brand as well. I mean, that can really span over anything you want to touch on. But yeah, I mean, in this context here, we're building community, right? So I'd say community and personal brand will be good to touch on.
Okay, yeah, that's I think like what Waldo was saying, obviously first and foremost is consistency. That's the most obvious that you can have is being consistent from space to space, right? Because a lot of us are in a lot of different spaces and pushing the same message out. You don't want to be saying one thing in one space and another in a different space. Humility is always, I think humility is the biggest lacking thing in all of crypto, and most devs don't have it. And I'm gonna go to more personal, like being doxed, knowing what you do in life. Like me, I've been married for 25 years. That shows trust. Items like that, been a long-term or business owner, stuff like that, that you showed commitment over long periods of times, that you stick with it and you grind with it, the roller coaster ride of it, and not like jump from one thing to another throughout your life. To me, that is like key. Anything I do is I look at background. If I'm going to hire someone for my house, I'm going to look at the background. If I'm going to introduce someone to my project, I'm going to look at their background and their history.
Facts.
So those are some items that I would look at more than just the friendly smile or friendly
If you
PFP
can
and the
comment, tell me
nice action
what leads to
on a
trust for
space
you.
one night. You know,
If you can comment, tell me what leads to
I
trust for
will.
you.
I'll end it there.
Shout
I
out to
love
Derpy
that.
Dave.
I love it. It's interesting as you talk about that. I instantly go to different weddings that I've been to, and I know it's pretty standard and people expect it at this point. But you see, hey, 1 year of marriage, 5 years, 10, 15, 20, and work all the way up. And I've seen some people that have been married for, gosh, I think there's been one or two occasions like 60 years, 60 plus years that people have married, maybe even 65. And I mean, you talk about trust. I mean, to be it's like, just for me to like kind of even like break that down, not quite 3 times the lifespan of my current life, but like 2.5 or pretty close. Like, to me, it's eye-opening to think that two people have that type of trust, even like you said, 20 plus years for you. And I know that's the same even for my parents. Have been together over 30 plus years now. I mean, that's a big deal. To be with someone for that long, to know, hey, there's going to be great moments and there's going to be some excruciatingly tough moments where it puts things kind of on the fringe, or moments where you're so heated you can't stand being next to that person. And so I think, to me, and I'm glad you said that, Drippy Dave, as well, that's, I mean, at least to me at my young age, that's, I think, been one of the greatest teachers so far, is, again, seeing how people choose to, walk into life with one another, and have always been able to figure out a way to work through things, and I know the ripple effect, for other people. I mean, there's such wisdom and insight and perspective that, people who are about to start that journey, haven't even started it yet, need that. And I think that's the same for people here in the space too, is, those that have been here for several years and have seen all sorts of different types of sentiment, to know that, hey, this person still found a way to be here and give it their absolute all every single day, which, again, each and every single day may look different. Just want to point out, it's not always going to be the same. That is reassuring. It is something that people can, place their confidence in, or they know that, hey, this is, a trustworthy source. There's enough track record, there's enough data for them to really give, some sort of insight that's worthwhile processing and probably internalizing too. So I love it. Absolutely love it. Anything else that you wanted to chime in with, Derpy Dave? I know, again, you got time restrictions and you're off to bed here soon, but if there's anything else you wanted to say, wanted to give you a chance before we pass over to some other speakers. Shoot, hopefully I didn't rug. Okay, all good.
He
No
went to
worries.
sleep early,
Yeah,
extra early.
boom, just like that, just knocked out. Like, he wasn't
Put him to
kidding.
bed.
He wasn't kidding when he said that. Like, he was literally about to go to bed. He was, oh, okay, now he's laughing, Morley. Oh man, I know that happens with some people, literally talking 1 minute, out the next. But appreciate you jumping in, Derpy Dave. Looking forward. I always love yours and Trina and Spook Spaces. You guys are like the three musketeers. You guys hold it down well. So appreciate you guys as always for letting me come up and hang out in your spaces. And it's always fun again to see you jump in here too. We haven't done this officially yet. We'll have to like plan some sort of space maybe that I can host or throw up for you guys, and maybe get you and Trina and Spook to come through too. And I don't know, we do some sort of even one-off space. I think that'd be fun. We should collaborate. We should see what kind of timeline we can put together to make something like that happen. If you're down for it, if you're down for the cause, sir. Heck yeah. I love it. Maybe it's brushing his teeth. I know that's usually like a staple for me before going to bed. I'm not sure if you guys have to brush your teeth before bed. I mean, that is a thing. I cannot go to bed with unclean teeth. It's just not possible. But anyways, I know we got some other friends up here. Want to keep the mic passing around. Appreciate everyone's patience. Thanks for jumping up here. See a bunch of great friends down the crowd too. BK, thanks for jumping in. Drowning, I see you down there. Always welcome to jump up too. You know, maybe
Got
it's been a
Tree
little
Gens,
Tree Gens.
Momville.
Jimmy was hanging out with Jimmy and the crew the other night. Man, I love their 12-hour spaces that they do. But yeah, you guys are welcome to come up, even if you don't talk often in spaces. Even if you got just a couple minutes, please feel free to come up, message me, and I will do my best to check DMs without rocking the space tour. If you got to, just leave. It's probably better just leaving me a comment in the purple pill, because I know DMs are usually a large contributor to the app crashing, at least for me. But we do have Momville making her way up, and I know Rachel's probably very happy about that. So we'll get to her very, very soon. But let's pass it over to, because I do see a hand up, and then I know we got some other friends who've been waiting. We got Wild America up here too. Want to give her a chance to speak, as I know I see her hand up. And then I know we got the wonderful Chris, aka DeFi Professor, and we got Kitty up here too. But let's pass it over to our good friend Wild America. How you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me and inviting me. I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Derpy Dave was saying. He mentioned that trust. I think the word he used was like, if you dox yourself, like that helps build trust. And I just wanted to say, I sure hope that it does not rely on doxing yourself because I think that the key to building trust is when you're honest and consistent and make someone feel safe,
Completely agree.
respected, and in control. But, like I've been married for 10 years together with my husband for 16. So when you're talking about like that type of relationship trust in a romantic way, I feel like there's like a lot different boundaries than a friendship or a business type of trust. So I think they're very different.
You nailed it. And I know Rachel could probably talk more on that too. Actually, quite a few of you could talk on it at different lengths too, considering you guys are actively forming personal relations and friendships, and there's also the kind of business layer to it too. And there's certainly again, I know for even Derpy Dave, he's probably been through that too, where sometimes it's maybe tough to separate the two, or maybe you've had one point early on where you're trying to figure out what that exactly looks like. And so I'm sure Rachel has some thoughts on this. So I want to pass it over to her.
Yeah, I have like about a decade of thoughts to share on this, but to distill it, I feel like, okay, building personal relationships and kind of creating that separation between business and friendships, I think for me that has been challenging. And I don't know if anyone can relate to like people pleasing tendencies, but I feel like in business, you really have to figure out how to set proper boundaries. And it actually is an act of self respect and self love, setting those boundaries, being more conscientious of your time, your energy. Because if any of you are like me, you want to say yes to everything, you want to help everyone, but you get to a point where you just can't do it and you can't sustain it, and it's just not good for anyone. So I feel like in building relationships, building business, building trust. I mean, I think setting healthy boundaries is such an underrated thing. Like I think that's really essential when growing a business, growing a brand, being just conscientious of your time and energy. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone, but that's something I've had to learn a lot over the years because I started out doing, training customer service reps, becoming a senior account manager, starting my first business, and now on my second company. And yeah, you really have to figure out like the relationship building side of it. Another thing I'll say is I tend to like give more than I take. I actually, something about me is like, I really don't like favors from anyone. I'd rather just give and do what I can for others. So I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but yeah, just showing up and helping and being of service where I can, but also setting healthy boundaries for my time.
And I'm curious too, kind of going off of that and then tying it back to what you were saying, Wild America. As you said, not necessarily maybe wanting to. I mean, there's maybe a number of different reasons. Don't necessarily need to go down that path, but do you know of, are there like specific examples per se where people maybe have done things in an unconventional or kind of a unique way, and they still have been able to build trust, to be able to have a loyal kind of following and support? Are there certain like moments or examples that maybe come to mind for you? Oh shoot, maybe she's gone.
No, I'm
No,
here.
okay,
Sorry.
wonderful. No,
I'm
you're
here.
good. You're
It
good.
fell asleep too.
I had to push the button. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I don't know. It's a hard one for me because
Yeah.
I'll say I'm a lot harder in trust in my relationship romantically than I am in my friendship relationship. Like I'm totally different. Like I trust way more easier it's stupid. I trust a stranger. I trust my husband, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, I give a stranger more grace than my husband, so I look at it differently. I don't know if that answers your question, but
I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, there's, again, there, and kind of like we were pointing out earlier, there's personal everyday relationships. There's even, I know, cases here in this space where, for example, maybe there's still a high level of kind of like
If you want to join the space, please do. Follow
I
everybody
know a
who's
lot
up
of
there
people
on the
trying
speaker
to
panel.
they
It'd be
they
great.
choose to go down kind of the anon path or route, where they're very anonymous, and they don't really want to put their photo out or put their name out, very discreet, maybe not even necessarily like where they're based. And so that was kind of also too, going down that question is, hey, do you know, or there's certain maybe influences, or are there certain people within the crypto space that maybe you've learned from or know of that have gone down that route of staying anonymous, that maybe were influential, or maybe a spark of just saying, hey, you know what, I don't have to, this person did it this way, I don't, I can follow kind of their footsteps, I don't have to be so publicly or like forward facing. Is there any kind of examples or any kind of people that you've known of that have gone that route, more so like crypto side?
um well, let me say the only reason I don't want to dox myself is not because I don't want people to know about me. Like not that reason at all. It's more of a safety reason. Like I don't want there be any angry wives or like customers. I have no clue. You never know. Maybe the Jews are going to get mad at me, you know? So I'm just paranoid in that aspect. But what I can say, like with my friends, all I expect for me to get trust from my friends is just to be there in like it could be a phone call. And one thing that resonates with me is when I was pregnant. That shows you who your true friends are. I'll tell you that because I felt so alone when I was pregnant. Like all my friends just left, and there was like maybe one person that would check on me, you know? So I feel like just actions speak volumes, honestly.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it there, especially at the end, and that's something that I have continued to share with people, and from this moment forward, I want to continue to share and really, really emphasize and reiterate how important it is. Again, if people feel comfortable, if they're willing to go to some of these different in-person events and really understand, like, I know Rachel will probably touch on this a little bit tonight as well. You know, she just had an event over the weekend. There are those moments in person where you're able, kind of like what I was saying too with Happy Hot Wife, is there's those moments where you're maybe kind of trying to read someone, you're really trying to get a grasp of, okay, I've talked with them online, I've been in these different moments and situations, but in person sometimes there's just something off, or maybe they treat someone, or they treat people, consistently over a couple of different points of time, just not in the best kind of manner or way, and it's like, ugh, that's like there's something going on there. And of course, obviously, as they're talking to you again, I've noticed that, hey, sometimes facial expressions or body language, or again, like I said, even how they're maybe treating someone else right next to me. There's all these different things that I've taken in over time that, again, really have allowed me to get a good, not because of other people's perspective, but me personally and my interactions I have with someone, I'm able to get a pretty good read of just how someone is. And so, again, like you were saying, there's those times where, yeah, actions are going to speak significantly louder than, again, whatever it is that people may say or portray online here, even in these spaces. So I'm glad that you had touched on that. Again, I think it's great too. I mean, if people choose to go down that route of not really being public or forward facing, I mean, yeah, maybe could it in some ways make things a little bit more difficult? It could. Is it going to be the end of the world? No. We've seen tons of people who have chosen to, stay rather, again, kind of anonymous, like I said, and they're not really forward facing with much information. And hey, that's okay. I mean, your actions will speak very loud with how you treat people over time. Again, even, prominent people, or I guess quote unquote prominent people here within our crypto bubble. But Derpy Dave, appreciate you coming up, man. Great to have you here in the conversation. Looking forward to your guys' spaces the rest of the week. But let's kick it over to Rachel if you want to go, and then I'm not sure who you want to toss it to first, Chris or Kitty, and then we can move it to
Yeah.
some of our other speakers.
I do want to shout out our team here. We do have Chris and Kitty here from the On-Chain Media team. And just to kind of reset the room a little bit, if you guys have not reshared the space, hit that purple pill in the bottom right of your screen so we can get more folks in here. If you're not following all these amazing speakers, definitely take a moment to do so as well. And yeah, on the topic of IRL, meeting people, getting that chance to deepen relationships and actually get to know people on a deeper level. I do want to say that the power of showing up is very real. Like, you do not know when you go to a conference or an event, you can meet someone you end up working with, that you end up starting a project with. Like, perfect example. I think this is a great segue to Chris. Is that, I went to ETH Denver several years ago. I want to say 2024. I had no idea that bringing a project in as a sponsor, working at a booth, I would meet Chris, the DeFi professor. And, we hit it off. We had a call, we talked for a good like 15 minutes or so at ETH Denver. Then years later, I didn't know we would end up working together. And he actually has joined my team and been highly, highly supportive of On-Chain Media. So I think that's just one example of the power of showing up. You never know who you're going to meet and how down the line you might actually end up working together, supporting one another. So I think that's a good segue to bring it to Chris. And yeah, we could also touch at some point on the space on the IRL meetup over the weekend that we organized as well. But yeah, I'll pass it to you, Chris.
Hey, Yo-Yo. Thanks, everybody, for having me on. Appreciate you, Peanut. Appreciate you, Rachel. I am actually live streaming the space as well. I've got 20 plus people watching the stream. So shout out to all those people who are wanting to watch in. Yeah, really appreciate the support. So this is actually something that is pretty near and dear to my heart because ultimately my job is to onboard and educate people to become natives in decentralized finance in this world of digital assets. So building trust is probably the pillar, like it's probably the most important pillar for people, at least in my community. Shout out to everybody from our Beacon Mastermind community specifically. And I think Wild America specific, I'm sure other people have mentioned it. Honesty and humility are two things that I think are super important in this space. It's very easy to be able to tell people how to do things in this space or help them understand how things work. Uh, you know, there's a trust factor when people are willing to give you not only just their time but their capital to help them, you know, invest, recoup. With for a lot of people, that's what this is in our space. Um, it's one thing to do that. One thing that, and again, this is, you know, obviously thanks to Rachel for allowing me to be a part of Bitcoin Pizza Day to help with the global live stream as a co-host for a couple hours. Understanding that not only is what we do important as just a really cool way to, you know, learn about self-custody, about learning about, you know, proper passive income strategies. For other parts of this world that are underserved and underbanked, Web3 and everything around it is the true unlock to a better life. So for a lot of people who, you know, I know crypto is suddenly cool again. I'm never leaving because I know that this is the future of how we all need to live. The technologies that are built here are innovative, they're novel, they're helping people around the world to become better versions of themselves. And what can I do to be a part of helping with that legacy? That's been my mission from the beginning, because the problem is not necessarily what they've built here. It's getting everyone else on this planet to understand what their options are. There are better options today than there were 6 months ago, and a light years amount of better options than what there were there 5 years ago when I first started doing this as a full-time career. So, you know, shout out to Peanut, shout out everybody who's here. Really enjoying the conversation, hearing the stories and how people feel. But for me, building a personal brand, building a community, I think of it, and I was just talking to my my oldest daughter's friend earlier. My wife and I have been married for 13 years and together for 17. I always wanted a small wedding. Thank you, Rich. I always wanted a small wedding because essentially for me, I'm a huge foodie. I love to cook. I wanted to cook for all my guests, and I wanted to share something that I'm truly passionate about with the people that matter to me most. And I invited everyone who came to our wedding to stand around, because we got married here in the backyard. I invited everyone around us to stand up with us who want to stand up for myself and my wife as a couple. And everybody came and stood around us, and we recited our vows and, you know, had a beautiful ceremony. So I think finding those kind of people that are part of your tribe, who are willing to stand up for you through thick and thin, those are the people that are truly real in this world. And obviously you can enhance that with IRL meetups, video calls, spaces like these. Building trust is about just forming memories, experiences, and bonds together. A long-winded response just to say that, because meeting IRL changed the trajectory of my career, because it helped me realize with my 3 co-founders when we created Beacon DeFi that forming bonds, experiences, and memories is the true unlock to getting people to build trust, to get behind you, to listen to what you say. I don't stream in front of a ton of people, but I'm very thankful for the number of people who reach out to me privately and say that, you know, Chris, I didn't really know what to think about crypto and DeFi and NFTs. I think they're all kind of scary, but something about the way you talk, about the way you present things, the way you present yourself authentically, you're not the average crypto bro or gal. And I trust that. So I'm willing to see what happens with you on the rest of the journey. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for listening to me yap. Appreciate it.
Wow, another mic drop. Thank you, Chris. And I actually pinned where you're actually streaming this space right now.
I
And
am.
thank you for all the support on this. And yeah, just to echo the sentiment of what you're saying, I totally agree. IRL is where relationships are built, trust is built. That's why I feel like no matter what is going on in my life, I do try to show up IRL. I try to organize and just get involved in my local community. And I feel like it's a lot easier than you'd think. I realize this, you know, you can basically raise your hand in your community, throw a meetup together, put it online, and people will show up. You know, you put a little elbow grease into promoting it, doing outreach. And I've had some of the best experiences of my life in
I
IRL
agree.
networking opportunities. And it's led me to places I just would have never expected. You never know where it's going to lead you, what conversation or what hand you're going to shake that might lead you to the next opportunity. So I totally agree. Peanut, I don't know if you want to elaborate on any of that before we pass it over to Kitty.
Nope, nope. I think that's wonderful. We all, well, I guess one thing that comes to mind is, just realizing, hey, when there are things that we're super passionate about. I know I had seen one of my friends jump in here, Slick Rick, and I think he must have just jumped out. But I see a number of other great friends in there too. I could make examples of in good ways. In good ways. I know I see Jimmy down there. We've talked about him a bunch. I know Mom down there. We obviously got Momville up on stage. We got Digi Joints. We got Drown and Run. A lot of great friends that I know each and every one of you guys, and I will kind of come full circle with this, that we have those things that we're passionate about, that we have a strong interest in. And of course, Chris has, you have your specific niche, you have your specific focus where, because of, and again, I know for a lot of people, it's, again, this isn't rocket science, but I try to hit things from a little bit of a different angle and connect the dots to maybe where it resonates with you a little bit deeper. But for Chris having his passion that he does, and for the interest that he has to research, to continually figure out, hey, what's like kind of the latest and greatest, what's going on, that would allow me to have a better understanding of what is actively being developed and progressing in the space. People can feel now, in sense, almost kind of like, I kind of use the example, it's like people can almost kind of like taste, for example, and of course I'm sure I'm not going to hear the end of this, like they can taste, feel, and see, like when somebody has that conviction and that passion, it's so tangible, almost like you can feel it, like you can touch it, that that is, I believe, everything here in the space, and everyday life too. Confidence in the way that your voice comes across, because again, it's not, as you guys have heard me say, it's not just what you say, but how you say it. How you say it paints an additional part to the story too, with the words that are actually coming out. And so that goes for every single one of us, where people, like Chris was just sharing some of these examples, like firsthand accounts for people have maybe a new kind of realization of, hey, this is actually interesting, or hey, what, I actually want to learn a little bit more. I want to start diving. Like, he makes it not as scary or complex. And I think for each and every one of us, we can have that same kind of effect in a way. Again, Chaz Gold's up here. I see even 32 Dream down there, which again, she's very talented with making all sorts of just incredible AI videos, and she's very good with a lot of different tools. For someone to go to me to try and learn, something in that realm, that's probably not going to be, the best use of your time. But for someone like 32, she's passionate. She makes all sorts of different videos and uses different tools and has these different inspirations. Like, somebody would go to her and they would probably say, oh, okay, it's not necessarily as complex or scary to try and create something from scratch as maybe it's thought out to be. And so again, that will look a little bit different for each and every one of us, with what, again, is interesting to us. And it's more than just passion. I think we have to look at, hey, where are you gifted, where are you talented, and then kind of on the back end of it, it's okay, is there passion with that too? Because I know some people say, hey, just follow your passion, but really, I think you should be looking at, hey, what are you talented, what are you gifted at, kind of consider that other part of it. And again, people, I think more often than not, will take what you're saying, your word will probably carry a little bit more weight too. So that was kind of an encompassing thought there, trying to kind of just come full circle there with what you were saying, Chris. But love the contribution to the conversation. Love the live stream as well. I love a good sounding microphone and a crispy camera that you got there on your end, sir. So appreciate you jumping up and making time to be here as always.
Chris just keeps coming back with the mic drops. Absolutely. Like I like to say, supporting others is free 99. You guys already know, like every one of you here,
I
I
realized
really
my
try to
mic was
just tap in
muted.
and support with every single person.
Sorry,
Because
guys.
I mean, as a creator, you know that every single person, you remember the people that show up, the little things. So don't take that for granted, and how much you can really impact someone's day through a small act of kindness. And to bring it back to Dolly Parton too, and like just leaving an impact and a legacy. It's like going the extra mile to do the things you
Yeah,
do not
RP to
have to
Dolly
do
Parton.
that make the world a
Crazy.
better place. Like it really takes nothing to be kind and support each other. So I totally resonate with that.
Yeah, I found out two friends that are
Wonderfully
younger than
said.
me
I see we got a
also passed as
couple.
well.
I'm gonna try and get a couple other people up on stage here. I know Momville is trying to make her way back up, but let's kick it over to Kitty, and then we'll see who's still up on stage. But
And
Kitty,
Jimmy just requested. We're getting a Jimmy cameo here today, you guys.
yeah, we're gonna have a very full crew up here as well. Say, Rachel, is it you behind the On-Chain Media account?
Nope, that is a mystery guest. It is somebody from my
Mystery.
team. I do
Wow.
not
Okay.
know.
Would that be either Kitty or Chris?
It's either Kitty or Chris. If it was Chris, I'd be very impressed because he's hosting a stream, speaking on camera, speaking on his account. It's probably Kitty.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. I may need to make a little bit more room for a couple of friends, but just want to make sure I'm not booting an individual that I know. I want to make sure I'm not booting off an individual person that isn't already up here on stage. So I thought I would at least
It's
ask.
okay. Yeah, give us the boot, Peanut.
Okay. Kitty, how's it going? Thanks for jumping up here and being here with us tonight or today. I know it's already Wednesday for you, time traveler.
Oh no, Kitty Rug.
Are we putting people to sleep today? Is that
We
what's
must
happening?
be. This is
I'm sorry. Is everyone-
crazy.
Let's
Too many
wake
people
up.
to sleep. Did you? I think you said,
gotta speak
Rachel.
in native tongue. That's it.
Yeah, you said, Rachel, that you made a beverage before the space to kind of wake up a little bit.
Oh, I did. This is a nighttime space for me, and I actually have some work to do after this. So I am having a little functional mushroom blend coffee. I get made fun of this from people who don't like mushrooms, but it is what it is. I love the coffee. Not sponsored, but it is. What is the brand? It's like four Sigmatic Focus Lion's Mane something. It's really good.
Ooh, I love it. That sounds wonderful. Well, maybe there's more of us that need something to wake up, or maybe I just need to bring a little bit more energy. Maybe
Let's do it.
maybe I'm a little bit too monotone. I try not to be, you guys. I try to bring a little bit of excitement to the
Jimmy's gonna wake
conversations
us
here.
up. Jimmy, like anytime, it could be
He
3 in the
always-
morning, and he comes in like, "Let's grow."
Grow morning, grow morning, grow morning.
There's
Wake
Jimmy.
up, people.
Seriously, we gotta wake up. We do. But let's do this. I know Chaz Gold has been up here for a hot minute and a half. I want to pass it over to him. I know we got Jimmy up here. We got Momville back up on stage. We got all the suspects. We got Uncuff up here too. We got we got Wolf up here too. We got Beat Cousin Request. So we're gonna give everyone a chance to grab that mic and join the conversation as well. Chaz Gold, good sir, how are you doing? How excited are you for NFT NYC, sir?
I'm ecstatic actually. I'm gonna be really happy when Friday hits and like this damn mint that I'm doing is out of the way and all this stress is over, so I can relax before I go to New York.
NFT NYC.
It's probably like
that was
crunch
interesting.
time for you because when are you leaving? It's not this week.
I
But
leave
would it be like
on Monday
It's
night.
next week.
Monday night
Ooh.
on the 31st at midnight, dude. And I get there at like 10 a.m. and like 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So I'm literally gonna be like jumping into a cab or having someone pick me up. I'm not sure yet. Flying down to Times Square, running up in the hotel room,
I do
dumping
wish
my
I could do
bags,
an
hopping in
NFT
the shower
NYC.
for
That
like
was
3
fun.
seconds, back out again, dressed and
I
back
will say it
downstairs
was
on the floor
expensive.
to greet everybody.
That's the only thing I didn't like. It's expensive to go to NFT
Wow.
NYC.
So what are the dates of NFT NYC? I
The
went
first, second, and
like
third.
last year. Okay, first, second, and third. Yeah, I went.
If I would have,
I want to say
if I would
last
have like
year.
looked into it deeper, like I would have been like, okay, maybe I should leave on the 31st, and got there like on the morning of the first, or like the morning left on the 30th and come back on and got there on the 31st. You know what I mean? And that way I had a night just to rest before the whole convention started. But no, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm okay. I'm good.
A glutton for
Damn,
punishment
I'm
with a
gonna get
red-eye flight.
FOMO. You're going to my
Right?
home. You're
Nope.
going to my home state.
But I'm flying first class for the first time ever.
Oh,
Wow.
hold on. I
So
gotta pull out the soundboard.
Fancy.
He's mogging on
so
us right now.
I bought my tickets in February for September. As soon as they announced the dates for NFT NYC, I jumped on online and I bought a round trip ticket for $817.
Okay, that's not bad. Sometimes you get those little
Yeah,
deals, you
yeah,
gotta do it to them.
yeah.
You gotta grab
It's
that
like first class,
first
all the way
class.
there and back. Let's go.
I've done
I
that
was
to
like,
East
bro,
Denver because coming from California, it's like a really short flight, and I can get that little
I'm
first
going from
class.
Portland to New York though,
Oh,
so
that
it's a
is
nice.
crazy. They're normally way more expensive. Because I was just thinking, going
Yeah,
back to New York and seeing my family and stuff, usually a pretty penny from West
yeah.
Coast to East Coast.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised at the price that I got. I was like, "Holy crap, man!" I was like, "I'll take that right now." I'm like, "I'll buy that for $1, thank you." Like, shh, don't tell anybody. I was like, I thought I was getting away with something. I thought I was getting like commit a
Yeah,
crime or something. I was like,
let them think like pinky out, and first make them think you spent like $3,000 on it.
"Oh, I
Gotta
know,
get the
I'm going to."
champagne. Yeah, use all the
All right,
money
well,
you
I don't drink,
save.
but
Exactly.
I'll be getting all kinds of stuff for free. Though I tell you what, I'm like, can I get a blanket, a pillow?
He's really maximizing the value of this
I
ticket.
really am, dude. I'm like, let's on a midnight
Taking
flight
all the
too, like
food
leaving,
and snacks.
literally leaving at midnight, like that. Not, it leaves at 11:59
Oh,
is when
well,
it leaves.
that's why, dude. You got a red eye. That's why they give
Yeah,
those away.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's the strategy right there, you guys.
Right? Seriously, like sleep on the plane, jump up and just go to the conference. Jump in the cab, get to the. I'm staying at the Edison, so I'm staying in the hotel.
Nice. That's gonna work out really
So,
good for you.
and actually, I can't even think that I'll be able to check in my room. It says the check-in time is like 3 p.m. So I'm gonna have to like leave my bags downstairs to the concierge,
Yeah.
and like unless they want to give me like like let me actually get in
Early
there at like 10 in
check-in.
the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a question off of that too, and I love talking about itinerary and logistics and traveling. I have all sorts of fun stories about that. But with your with your recent drops you've been doing, and some of the different people that you get to work with, Chaz, what would you say are just some of those things that you value, that you care about, that you look for? Like, what does it take for someone to kind of earn that trust where you're willing to like co-brand and co-market something that you're releasing and dropping? Like, what does that take for you to be willing to put yourself out there with someone else?
So like me and Chombo, like we actually, so we met through Spaces, right? Yeah, I have to tell the little bit of the story. So
Shout out to everybody who's watching. Appreciate you. There's more than 30 of you out here. We are doing some space hopping. I'm currently on the space for Gallery Meets Media. I don't think I'm gonna hop to anywhere else tonight, but I might. But we'll see how things go. But I am working right now. Oh, in the words of, I'm doing vibe coding on my other box here. I'm building this new app, and I'll probably talk about it at some point. But we're in the formative hours.
I was like, why don't we just like, since we're flying in together, let's drive down together. I got a hotel already, dude. Like I got one place, I got one room and one like cargo container house in Alpine for the first night. I got the rest of the nights at the Thunderbolt Hotel, dude. I'm like, you can share the room with me, bro. And he was like, all right, cool. So we met in El Paso, like never met in person before. Jumped in a rental and they drove 3 hours into the Texas desert. And we talked on Spaces and on phones and stuff like that about like we should manifest like a collaboration while we're in Marfa. Let's work on something together. I mean, we had no idea. It was both of our first times going to Marfa, so we had no idea of like what it was going to be like. And it just turned out to be so busy, and we were having so much fun. Like there was so much shit going on, and we're just like, wow, you know what I mean? And like we just never got around to doing that. And then we're still friends, and like we talk all the time on the phone and whatnot. And I keep doing daily art. And I keep like posting stuff online, and we kept like talking about like we're gonna get into a collaboration someday. And then when my mom passed, I started doing this really deep like art with my journal writings that I was using out of my journal, like literally copy and paste, and I would drop them in with mood boards and like Laura's that I was making that I made before, like certain style. And he was already really loved like the cybernetic like the kind of trading card styles that I'd done, but these ones for once my mom passed, like were a little bit more personal. They were so trading card style. They didn't have the borders on them. They were very like there's a lot of detail and depth and like a lot of like meaning behind them. And he like hit me up one day on DMs and he was like, "Yo, dude," he's like, he's like, "I know you're going through a lot of shit right now. This is a really intense time for you, but would you mind if I ask for like some of this art and see what I can play with it? Then like do that art collaboration?" I was like, "Yeah, totally." So I sent him like 10, 12 pieces of art and he picked out 9 of them and he did his own like little like glitchy like and silhouette people walking through them, his little style of stuff, and I fell in love with it. And I like and then we talked about what kind of like music we wanted to do for it, and I made a like a synthwave track for the all 9 of them so that like as one starts and one ends, it keeps with the same exact track we playing back to back. And it's just total creative, like bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, having that trust of knowing somebody for this long. You know what I mean? And like knowing so much I know about his life and he knows about mine, and having that friendship was like really key. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it really takes. It's like it's not just about like throwing art back and forth and throwing shit on the wall and see what's going to stick, but knowing like what's behind the art, who's behind it, like what they're going through at the moment that they went through it when they created it, knowing the personal story behind it, and like why it was
It's the
created,
best
and like
part.
what the feelings and emotions. I think that makes a good collaboration. And that's the only kind of from this far on time on, like that's the only collaboration I really want to do now.
Yeah. I
I
got a
love
quick
You know what I mean?
that.
thought. I got a quick thought, and then I'll pass over to Rachel, and then I know we got some other hands up and some other people that have been waiting.
Be
But
right
it's
back.
it's interesting is
You can still
you're
hear.
sharing that Chaz is it's being able to have ample amount of time around people where you can find some sort of common ground. You can find where there's there's interest that you share, and it's fascinating again how even as you kind of just sharing that there's certain moments that you open up about, or someone's kind of inquiring with, how that can be kind of the that itself can kind of be the gateway, or that could be the spark that really blossoms into a great connection and dynamic when people are willing and thoughtful enough just to ask some of those, maybe.
And respectful enough,
Yeah,
like
respectful too. And
respecting like where it came from, like the
yeah,
emotions and like the depth behind it, because it was a really emotional thing for me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I love what he did with it. You know what I mean? I was blown away. Honestly, I was so
yeah.
proud of it. And by the way, this is I've been talking to Rob Santos and Benzi that have a gallery there in New York. It's just like a standing gallery that's been there for a minute now. And like has
Oh
been
wow.
getting good foot traffic and all that kind of stuff. They're gonna open the gallery up for the entire week of Edit NYC from like Tuesday to like Friday, and they're
Wow.
gonna give me a time and day or times and days. I'm not sure exactly where and how, but like they're gonna work it out that I'm gonna be able to show this collection on the wall there or on the
Wow.
screens there, and be able to have that be like a meeting place for people to pick up their physical cards for the other piece that I have,
Wow.
and have this shown at the same time for people to see. Like, so even though Chama's not going to be there, I found us a gallery I can put this art in for during the week.
Carrying the
So I thought that
torch.
was really cool.
I love it.
So
Rachel, go ahead.
yeah.
I know you wanted to share some comments.
I just want to say, Chaz, I loved hearing you share that story. And first of all, congratulations on the success and going into NFT NYC, having that show and your spot there. I also wanted to, say sorry about your mom. And it sounds like, something, connection and art that came out of that was very, sincere. And, you kind of made beauty and art out of an experience like that. And something I wanted to ask you was, do you view like, okay, as a pillar of trust, do you think vulnerability is a part of that? Because you had to have opened up and share what you were going through to lead to that, like, that breakthrough in the art.
I think it definitely is. And like something cool about like just to like put it out there. Like my mom was 87 when she passed, so like we saw it coming. You know what I mean? Like we knew that was this was something that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, and we saw it coming from a long way out. And just the way that it happened, when and how, and like and like the fact that my mom used to ask me like maybe like couple years ago, she started asking me about my art, and like and I go to see her on Sundays and hang out with her. Right? She lived in this, and we had to put her in a home because she couldn't be by herself anymore. And I go out there every Sunday to hang out with her, and like I'd bring my laptop, I'd be working on my art and stuff. And she's like, "What are you working on?" And I'd show her, and I explained to her what NFTs were, and she actually understood it. She got it. She was a graphic designer before for years. You know what I mean? But like she took she got understanding of the blockchain and NFTs and the way that it was permanent storage and like it's a receipt and like you know what I mean? Like I spent money hours talking to her about this stuff and like her nurses would come into the room and they'd be like, you know, my son he makes NFTs, you should buy them. My mom was trying to show me the freaking nurses in the homes, dude. It was
I love
hilarious,
that.
dude. Like so that was another thing too. Like so there was a lot of that energy behind her.
W
Like
mom.
my mom knew what I was doing and like understood and like really appreciated my art. Cause I get it from her too. Like that creative streak and the digital component of things. She was a computer like graphic designer, like in the 90s. So it's kind
Wow.
of cool.
Mom was goated. It sounds like
Yeah, my mom was
absolute
hella goated,
legend.
dude. And the best part is like when she did pass, she passed on March 3rd at 3:33 a.m. in the middle of a blood red moon during a full
Whoa.
lunar eclipse. At that very
Wow.
moment is when she passed. At that exact moment in time.
It's a beautiful
Wow.
thing, man.
And I was
That
like,
is
that's
some
the
biblical
universe just being like,
serendipitous stuff
yo,
right there.
that was like the universe being like, yo, let me just light the way for you. Let your path be comfortable. I was like, okay, all right, cool. You know what I mean? It gave
Super
me
cool.
so much comfort. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
And the best part, then also in I did a piece called the Mercury, Mercury. God darn it! The word, why the word is like it's coming
Mercury?
to me right now. Mercury. What's the word when like a mom starts at M? Here, I'm gonna find it right now. There it is. It's this one. Ah, darn it.
I wish I knew. I
It's
don't at the
called
moment.
the Mercury. Oh man, my brain sometimes like because my brain surgery stuff.
Mercury. It's all good,
Yeah,
Chad.
here, this one. Here, there. I'll put it up there, and you guys can read it. So this piece I made
Somebody
for
play
my
Royal
mom
Kingdom.
directly,
I'm
and I
playing
put her
Royal
on as
Kingdom
one of
right
my
now while I'm
dailies. Was
waiting
daily
for my
day
agent to continue.
168 for on which was March 3rd of the year, and of my daily work, and I made this. I just put it up there, and I just made it, and I was like, this is for my mom. You know what I mean? And
Oh, yeah.
Shills,
I love this.
I submitted it for Shills for the Canal Street show,
Yeah.
and they accepted it
Check out
for
Chaz
that.
Wow.
Gold's stuff.
So that's going to be in the Canal Street show on September
Very
3rd
cool.
too.
He's gonna be
So
featured
it's
on
like
NFT
just
NYC.
yeah, and I'm going to be on the billboards
Chaz_Gold
over on
on X.
52nd and Broadway with a bunch of art, like possibly
Okay.
the billboards on Times Square. So like, yeah, I'm rocking it this week, this time, man.
Hell yeah. Lots of cool things
Yeah.
underway. I'm
But the
definitely
fact that like
pumped for you,
I'm
man.
part of like Canal Street show, dude, that's
Yeah.
massive. That's
Yeah.
huge. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like I'm just like I'm still pinching myself. I'm like, this is really my life now.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, that's one
Dude.
of the biggest shows there is for NFT NYC, hands
Yeah.
down.
I'm pumped,
Yeah.
man. I'm pumped. I'm excited for you. Appreciate you coming up and
Thanks for letting me share all that because I haven't actually get to talk about it that much on the
Yeah.
timeline lately.
Dude,
So
heck yeah.
it's good to put it out there. So thank you for giving that space. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, I think it's great again just for people to be able to get to know a little bit more about you again, to kind of have an understanding of who you are and where you're coming from, and I mean to that too. I mean allows people to build up, to kind of have that trust. You know, hey, what's Child's Gold really about? You know, so appreciate making time to open up and share. I'm gonna do a little bit of a shuffling. I know we got some friends up here that we don't usually get to hear from. So I'm going to pass it over to 32. She's up here on stage. I know we got a bunch of you wonderful people as well who are up here as well. So don't worry, I didn't miss you. I didn't forget about you. But I know sometimes we don't always get to hear from certain friends. So want to make time for 32. How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. Frickin', I was listening and I had to come up.
I think I just rugged myself. I decided to be nice and switch to listening, and I don't know what happened. I'm gonna have to take a lap. Hold on. Let's see. Let's refresh the page. There we go. We're gonna take a little lappy lap.
This little taco stand on the side of the road before we drove to Marfa, and there was just like it was like just some like street corner
Yo,
like
we are
making little
way
taco like
behind.
street tacos, and I was like, let's go, dude. I'm like, I need lunch right now, and they were so good. They're succulent. They're good. You know what I mean? Because they're close to the
This is
Mexican border
making me
there.
want tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Chico's Tacos is amazing. But
Oh,
my
maybe I was
grandma,
just
my grandma
behind.
makes the best tacos. The best tacos. But I mean, in El Paso, you could literally go to a club, and there's some clubs that have 50-cent
miss my
tacos.
abuela.
If you're
I
getting a
have
little
abuela,
buzz, you just get
grandmother.
a 50-cent taco.
I could
Are
definitely
they?
go
Do
for
they
some
cost
tacos right
50
now.
cent, or are they 50-cent themed tacos?
They literally cost 50 cents.
Are they 50-cent
We
themed?
need 50-cent. We need 50-cent themed tacos for 50 cents. That'd be great.
Wait, are we opening a food truck? Because, like, I'm down.
We need 50 cents endorsement.
Yo, they're mad good.
Oh,
By the way,
I'll
Peanut,
They're
I need to
mad
get
good.
a Lossie, dude. I really need to go look and shop for a long loss, bro.
In the club, we
Yeah,
all
dude. Let me know
fan.
if you have questions. I love conversations like this. We could have like 4 different topics
I was
going
like,
at
just
once.
by the way, I'm like, by the way, I've been thinking about that for a minute because I was thinking about it because I just saw the little just got like a little tag from a decapitation from the Dead Punks.
Yeah,
So I got
yeah.
one of
You
those
always hit
last
people
night.
over there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got one of those last night. I'm like, I need to get one of the Losties so I need to put that in my vault, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know if you got
I'm trying to
questions.
get all the
man.
good Popia P collections. All you guys to support me and like have me up on stages and stuff. I'm like, okay, I have to support back, especially now that I'm like selling art again. And, like things are going good. And I'm like, I actually have some like
Yeah, I need
some
to
money
get
to
one of
spend.
these too.
Yeah.
I also another little side ADHD rabbit hole. I just want to say, listen, with Chaz being up here, I come from an art background, right? I studied fine arts. If you guys could all take a moment to check out his art that is
Mhm.
pinned. If you haven't done so, everyone here listening, if you could take a moment to like, to comment, to share your thoughts on this piece, it really doesn't take that much time. And supporting an artist is it's so important. I feel like we got to support people who are true creators out here.
Yes, I agree. I second that.
Anyway, I know 32 Dreamy
Thank you.
was speaking. Sorry, we went into like 6 different tangents,
Yeah,
but
I love it. So many different tangents and different conversations at once. It's like, all right, sweet, here we go. But no, 32. I posted one of your videos that you made up top too, just to kind of give people an example of what I was rambling on about earlier. If you guys are looking for someone else too who likes to do really creative stuff, as I was saying, with videos and all sorts of tech and tools and resources, definitely a person to connect with if you want to learn more. But go ahead, 32.
Ay, Dios mío, I just heard frickin' Rachel said she has ADHD. I don't think I should be up here. But anyways.
we're gonna implode.
We're gonna
Yo.
implode full of laughter, and 32 Dream is gonna be the culprit of it.
But I mainly came up here because I heard her mention mushrooms in her coffee. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you feeling like Super Mario? Like, what kind of mushrooms are you talking about? I've never heard that.
That's
ever.
classified. We do have HR here today, so no, it's like the functional mushroom blend. Like lion's mane, some other ones. I don't know.
I've
The golden
never
know about
heard.
mushroom coffee.
Do you like? Do you turn it into like powder before you toss it in, or do you literally have floating mushrooms, like marshmallows?
Not the floating kind. No, it's not Super Mario style
It's
mushroom. I'm just
pulverized.
gonna take a picture for the comments for you guys and show you. It's like a functional, organic caffeine mushroom blend. And I make it in a French press. So here, I'll share a picture and pin it for you guys.
So it's like regular coffee, right? Just mushroom?
Yeah, I mean you can get it at like Whole Foods, Sprout. They have this everywhere. It's like a very common brand. I feel like.
I think my little
Here.
brother was talking about this. He said he changed to this and he felt better.
And yeah, so I do like a crazy thing with it. So I mix like either MCT oil or coconut oil. And this one I have coconut oil. I do a little turmeric and an additional mud water blend of mushrooms as well. So it really does help for focus. And before that, I have like this Brian Johnson like longevity mix. So I don't know. I'm trying to like, I don't know, do things like holistically, naturally, and stuff like that.
I love it. I freaking love it. All right, 32, you're up here, and I know you gave us all some good belly laughs, but and you already know how I work. I got to get you for like a slightly serious response, just ever so slightly. What would you say has been a deal breaker for you in terms of trust being broken in the space, and or if you don't want to go down that route, what would you say has helped people build trust with you, or what are things that maybe other people have done that's allowed you to trust them a little bit more?
Trust is a must, man.
A deal breaker for me is basically when somebody tells me something and they don't follow through, and I do my research and I finally put, 2 to 2 together.
True.
And like no matter what they're doing, if it happens, one time I'm like, all right, maybe that was an accident. Maybe they didn't honestly mean to do that. My trust issues are. I think I give too much trust, and that's something that is my downfall. Because of doing that, obviously people tend to believe that you're probably on their side, of which you're just trying to do you. And so the fact that like I give too much trust, sometimes it affects me, of others potentially trusting me. And I'm just trying to, obviously give them the benefit of the doubt, and then eventually if it happens again, then I walk. I can't stand when people lie to me. I can't stand when people give me promises that they don't actually follow through with. And even if like, because it makes you believe that they're giving you like a dream that might come true, and the fact that it just like all of a sudden gets taken away. Like if someone offers you, I'll give you $1 million if you do this and you do this and you do that and whatever, and then it doesn't actually follow through, then it feels as if you wasted your time. And so yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like, you must whatever you talk, you must walk, and if you don't do such, then I'll walk. You got to make that choice. And so I've walked multiple times, and
Good for
people
you.
then start talking, and they don't really necessarily ask you what happened. They just like hear the gossip, and that bothers me, because I mean, I rather people know exactly what happened. But if they don't wish to ask me, then you know what, they're not my type of people that I want around anyways. So
Facts.
that's it. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the rest of the question because I rambled on too much.
Well, I'm picking up.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry. Go
Rachel.
ahead, Peanut.
Nope, all good,
Oh,
Rachel.
I was gonna say I'm picking up what you're putting down. 3D dream. It's 3D dreamy. Dream me.
32. That's good.
Why do people
3D.
always miss the tune?
3D. I like this. This is a new one.
32, Drea, that is me.
Great.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, cool. But I feel like both names are like
Oh.
dreamy. I feel like they're both cool. So yeah, what I was gonna say is something
I
for me.
see.
We talked about what builds trust and what breaks trust. Something I've
Miami.
seen in this space is like you were saying, is like, people that say one thing and then do another when actions don't align with words. That's something for me, definitely. Also there are people who kind of in the space I've seen who kind of put forth these values in the public sphere, right? As far as what they're posting, what they're talking about. And then I can clearly see behind the scenes that is not the person they are. And I see them doing bad acting behaviors or malicious activities or really not supporting others, but their whole public brand is how much they support others. That to me, I've seen
Right.
that, and I've had quote unquote people that, position themselves in my life as friends. And then I really saw behind the scenes that, the stuff public on the timeline isn't really the case of how they move or operate. And yeah, it's made me had to be more like scrutinizing on who I'm letting into my circle, my life, my business. And one rule of thumb is like, I think I've heard someone say this, I forget who, I'm pretty sure someone on one of these spaces, but how do people operate over the years, right? Who are they 1, 2, 3 years into your life? How do they show up on a long timeline, right? Because I feel like when you know people longer, you can kind of see and understand their values, their intentions, and also habits, behaviors, and actions. So anyway, that was a lot of words, but yeah.
I love it.
I feel like I'm supposed to, add on to that and say exactly. Exactly.
Oh my, I love your laugh,
I'm
by
gonna
the way.
I'm gonna
What
use
she
a
said.
Rachel and say mic drop.
Oh my gosh, I love it. See, I had to get somewhat of a I always kid with people who are very humorous and funny like yourself. I'm like, okay, we at least got to get something more, I don't know, I don't want to say more serious, because I guess sometimes doing something comical can be serious in its own way, but I do appreciate you jumping up here, 32. I know we got some new names for you here in the space, which I'm always laughing at. Like I think that's one of the funniest things sometimes. Like I know sometimes letters jump around on the screen or people's names, but I've heard some funny enunciations of people's names. That's half the fun here in space, trying to see if people can say names correctly. But appreciate you being here. Always a wonderful time. Again, getting to hear the laugh, the giggle train, as I like to say. If you guys haven't connected with 32, definitely connect with her. She's in a lot of great spaces as well. Makes a lot of incredible video content. I pinned one of her posts up top too. If you guys are curious what the heck I'm talking about, you can see a lot of the passion and creativity that she puts into her work, similar to what Chaz Gold does too. You know, they each have their unique styles and unique kind of twists and turns that they take with their art. So wanted to comment on that. But oh my goodness, we got a lot of wonderful people up here. Want to make sure we get to all of you. So appreciate you guys making time to be here. Appreciate your patience as well. Let's kick it over to Momville, because I know Momville has been back up on stage for a hot minute. I know Smile is also up here. I know we got Uncuff that we need to go to, and then we'll kick it to some of our other friends as well. But Momville, are you up here? I know Rachel's going to be very happy.
am.
Oh my goodness, you're here.
I know. I will say this is the first space I've been in weeks. I tried the other day.
Shout out to
I got
Monville,
into
by
a
the way.
space and then I had to jump off because my daughter got in a car
She's dealing with
accident.
the fires
But
out
I
there.
Is
have
she
out there.
been
okay?
she is okay. Yeah, she's okay. It was just a scare, which is a touchy subject, as everybody who does know me in space. It's car accidents are very scary for me. So it was very traumatic. So I dropped
Yes.
off and ran because she was like 30 minutes away from the house. But she's okay and her car's okay. But it was just a very emotional time for us, you know.
Well, I'm really glad to hear, relieved to hear that she's okay in
Oh,
Momville, and
I know.
grateful
Because,
for
well,
you taking the time
yeah,
to be
that's,
here.
yeah, well, and I've been out with, and building trust, perfect topic is so important. I've got our wonderful Midas team, which, you know, officially today it's been a year, which is amazing. We've been, so I am so proud and honored to, you know, have them in my life as well. But just building the trust is so important. I've been gone for, I think, about 3 weeks dealing with the fires over here, and so many people have lost their homes. So my boots have been on the
Yes.
ground. My mother-in-law, who has very severe dementia, I've had her at nights and every weekend. My coworkers are out. Some of their houses burnt down. So I really
So
haven't been
sad.
on space. This is my mother-in-law just finally went back to her home. Thank goodness. We're still waiting for my father-in-law, but he's a lot easier. So
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Momville?
Oh, did we lose? I was just gonna ask the
calling
same
me.
thing.
Momville is back.
You can't hear me?
Momville is back.
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, she'll probably try calling me again. But building trust is so important, and who you bring in your circle. And there's going to be a lot of people in there who try to get in your circle, and let them follow you, which is great because maybe you'll inspire them to change some of the ways, or, you know, to be able to grow. I'm very careful who I support because I'm very busy. And I feel like it's so important to support anybody. I don't care if you just came into space, but if I see you putting true intentions into really trying, I'm going to be there 100% backing you up. Because pay it
Amazing.
forward. Always pay it forward. Life is short, you guys. You got to, there's no room in life for negativity. You got to stay positive.
Life's hard,
It's
guys.
just negativity is not worth it. It's, before you blink, your whole life can change, from personal experiences. And it's really important just to go out there and get out of your comfort zone and meet people and build your circle who's going to challenge you and who's going to inspire you, who you can learn from, who you can pay it forward and teach other people, or just be there for them so they feel noticed as well.
Well, Momville, you inspire me. Like seriously, you are like a real life superhero. You're out there doing your work in the medical field, helping people. I mean, you're out like helping coworkers, people who are losing their houses, your daughter. And, one of the conversations on one of our recent spaces, actually, shout out to One Eyed Willie. We were having a conversation on one of our recent shows,
One-eyed
was
Willie.
knowing when it's okay to step away from the space, right? Like, I feel like it's kind of like this thing that's always on, and there's kind of this always like invisible pressure, right? Like we have to show up. There's all these things happening. But I think if there's stuff happening in your family, like circumstances that require your energy, attention, and love elsewhere in your life, like I think that's totally fine. And listen, we love you, and we're here when you come back, and you just inspire me. And the fact that you are showing up and supporting others, even while you're going through all that, is really inspiring.
Oh, I love you guys, and everybody sent me messages. Thank you. I'm trying to catch up with them and everything else. So I've had my message DMs are blowing up like crazy, like either asking where I'm at or seeing if it's okay. So things are slowly calming down. So I'm slowly starting to get to do what I want to do. But yeah, and that's what's nice. I've built so much trust in such a wonderful community and different projects, not only my own cherished team of Midas, but in other projects, that I have adapted into what I call the Midas Energy fam, because that's the circle of all these different wonderful builders and creators, and even the reply people, who do show up all the time just to reply to post and to show the love and support those people just because they can. I think it's important to support everybody who's really putting that work in. But because I have such a wonderful circle, I can say, "Hey, I'm going to be gone." And everybody understands. And that's what it's about, is people really
I
believing on
think
what
everything
you
should
can
be
do. It's like,
fine, but
hey,
I'm in the
this
middle of
person's out.
updating
I know she's
something for
not gone
Tailscale.
forever. She'll be
So
back, and she'll be out
if I
here
get
strong as
bumped,
ever
I
when she gets
apologize.
back, and just supporting any way we can.
Wow. Well, if y'all haven't tapped in with Momville, follow her, follow Midas. I'm looking at the timeline right now, and seeing some of the video content from Spokane, and really just looks insane. And I'm just glad you're okay as well, Momville.
Oh, thanks. Yes, I'm okay. We're still waiting for we found places for everybody, and I actually donate a lot of stuff, and I've been like cooking and doing, and of course my daughter, fingers crossed, you guys. But yeah, she's on her word. Finally hit that 6 month mark. So we had to go through all of her cancer testing again. And so all in the mix of everything, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get a break? But it's been interesting,
I
and
know
it's
how
been
that
fun just
goes.
to be able to send that energy to so many different people and just make them laugh. We cried, they laughed, and I said, you know what?
I'm probably gonna do a React stream
It
later, just so
happened.
you
What do
guys
we do
know,
now?
because I love to laugh.
We can't go backwards. Today's a crap day. Cry about it. Tomorrow's a brand new day. And then tomorrow we'll face it straight on. What can we do?
So true. I think
So,
staying optimism when times are hard, it's so essential, I feel like. And another, I mean, to bring up Dolly Parton again today, I saw a video of back in May, she actually made a video talking about some of her health issues, and the fact that she was able to joke through that, like she had a smile on her face. You could just tell she's genuinely grateful to be alive. And I think really through the hard times, optimism, just staying optimistic about the future is just so important. And yeah, Momville, again, I know I've already said you're an inspiration, but thank you for being here and for all that you do for our communities.
well, I appreciate you guys and absolutely love you guys as well. And you guys always know you're part of my Midas family.
Shout out to
Let's
Midas.
go. I love it. It's great to have you, Momville.
By the way, we've had a good friend of ours here. I do want to pass it over, and I gotta get my vocabulary growing on here as we kick it over to the one and only Jimmy Cohen. You guys, Jimmy, thank you so much for taking the time here today. We're talking about what it takes to build trust in communities, and I feel like you're really a master of this. So I don't know if you want to touch on that, or if you have anything growing on your end that you want to touch on, but I'll kick it over to you next.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, no, I definitely do want to touch on that. So, I mean, this has already been said to an extent, but I'll throw the vocabulary in. Integrity, right? Say what you do what you say. It's super key, right? Like doing that consistently. But also, I think like sharing who you are, you know, like a lot of people are just posting, you know, maybe some like update, or it's just like their cartoon version of themselves. Like that's all well and good, but like, who are you as an actual person? Like, what are not just the wins, but like the challenges maybe that you go through. I think that allows people to connect on a bit of a deeper level to like, you know, the person behind the avatar, you know. And I also like personally do trust people who have doxed themselves like significantly more. Like I get that some people want to remain anon, and like that's all, you know, well and good, but like if you do dox yourself, like realistically, guys, like you know, not everyone's like Satoshi Nakamoto. Like you don't gotta do that, right? Like some people think they're Satoshi out here. You know, and also like, and I think maybe the risk of doxing for some people is like, oh, if I launch a token and it like tanks, then you know maybe some people will come after me and stuff. Like, well, don't build it that way. You know, like what, like you like try to build something that you know you can really be proud of, to be like stand behind it, you know, and be like, yo, I did this, you know, and it's me, and I'm here, and like, you know, and if you can build something like that, you know, where you can really be proud to stand behind it, I don't think you're really gonna have much of a problem doxing. I think most people like be grateful to know, you know, and who that person is behind it. So I think that's also a key element, you know, allow people to get to know you, and don't be afraid to also share like the challenges. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows along the way. There will be setbacks, you know, but as long as you don't give up, then you keep pushing towards it, and people are like along for the
That
journey,
is
you know,
true.
they're along there for the ride, and they get to you know, it's a story. Then it's not just
A
like
lot of this is people not
you
realizing
know,
that they're not alone.
we did it, and that's like, this is all that, you know. But really allowing people to go there along the journey with you, and I think that's ultimately going to allow for people to want to, you know, trust and support at the end of the day.
I have to say I agree. And something you just made me think of, Jimmy, is, you know, you and I mean, we go to events, we're out there, our faces out there, we make content. And I feel like when you first start doing that, there is an element that's a bit intimidating about it, right? Getting on camera, being out there permanently. But you know, something that has kind of given me a bit of what's the word? Like I feel better about it is, you know, I've gone out to for one example is an event in LA for base where Brian Armstrong was walking around the event. You know, several events I've seen Vitalik out there without even a security detail or anything, and that's like a billionaire who created a blockchain. Like, so I feel like, you know, maybe not operating in the sense of fear that like, oh, something bad's going to happen to me if people know who I am, and being vulnerable. And I know it's different for everyone. There are people who genuinely, I've heard valid reasons, but it's like playing a game on hard mode, right? Life is already hard, I think, and I've seen founders do this. And again, some people have their reasons, and I respect that, to each their own. But I do feel like from what I've seen, it has made it more difficult to establish trust. And that's just, I don't know. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. But when you don't know who's behind a thing, it could be anyone, right? It's like, would you go to a bank if the bank teller was wearing a hood over their face? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. No. 100%. You wouldn't. You would not trust that person, and because it does give an out, right? Like
I mean,
if
do you
someone's
trust me
completely
because you
anon,
can
like
see my
they can
face?
just dip, you know. And but if you're like, hey, this is me, this is who I am, you know, I'm in this,
Because I'm the
then
DeFi
I'm
professor.
far more likely to be like, all right, sick. Well, I definitely want to support that. This is a person.
Yeah. But I
But
have
but
heard I just want to say, for anyone out there that has chosen that, I do respect that. And I have heard genuinely valid reasons. Like, I worked with someone who was an incredible worker on it. He was my colleague, who was like a very high level, like pharmacist or some crazy role, where he was like, you know, this industry is still evolving. There's still regulations. It's uncertain. I
I
can't
mean, I
have
get it.
my title or my role at this, you know, as a very high caliber role. So I understand it for some people. I've genuinely heard valid reasons, but I just think in general terms, like, you know, it is kind of like playing a game on hard mode.
Just to have my thought on the idea, it can be very difficult, regardless of what you do. Because I don't give financial advice. I always say that all the time. I am fully doxed. Didn't love the fact that I'm fully doxed, but because of who I worked with high net worth individuals, it's important for the trust capability for people to know who I am, how to reach me, that I'm a real person. It'd be different if I just like wore a shiesty or some type of facial covering and really didn't really, talk about myself very often. I know there are mastermind groups out there that are like that. For me, I just always wanted the realness of it, and that's the reason why I've doxed, because I believe strongly in the future of all of this being here to improve our lives, not necessarily for. I get why people don't dox. That's one thing I'm very worried about. A $5 wrench attack. It's the reason why I don't go to conferences in the EU, if I'm being very honest. Yeah, it's not just me that I have to worry about. I have to worry about my family, and that's something that I take very seriously.
People at a global level, all sorts of different people that have very important positions, and there's certainly a number of things that won't happen, if you're not willing to get on the camera or even to, travel to certain parts of the world and meet people face to face. And so obviously, again, for yourself, you're very out there, like you're very forward facing. And again, it's just realizing and understanding, hey, what's kind of the path, what's the route that you really want to take, not right or wrong, good or bad. Like for myself, I've stayed pretty not necessarily fully doxed, but I've definitely put myself out there where, people have seen my face. I've been on different live streams, been on podcasts, I've been to different events in person too. And people know, like, hey, this is Peanut. I know what I'm getting. He's going to be the same person on Spaces as he is on the timeline, as he is in group chats, as he is face to face, as we're having a drink or we're having a meal together. And I think that in itself is a huge part of it. If I hadn't been to as many events as I have been to, well, I shouldn't say as many, not to say like I'm trying to like brag or gloat about it, but with the events I have been able to go to, I think that's definitely helped, again, as people can see that there's content, there's photos, there's videos. People can see that I'm interacting, or people have questions that can say, oh yeah, I've known Peanut for a while, or hey, I've known him for a lot, several years, and I finally met him face to face. Like, there's nothing fishy, there's nothing weird about him. And it's not to say there's necessarily even, things I'm trying to hide, but I just know that, hey, Peanut is a great way for people to remember who I am, with all the different names that we have to remember, and trying, again, kind of, I guess, sorting our brain. I always tell people, hey, Peanut's either going to make you laugh and smile, or you're instantly going to be kind of like, why Peanut? And
you're gonna laugh or cry.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this is how it kind of came to be. And it's like, oh wow, okay, like I don't know too many people that were born in an ambulance, and it's kind of just a fun way to kind of, get the conversation rolling, at least. So yeah, I think it's important, like, hey, you got to figure out, if you're not willing to go down one particular path or avenue, okay, what are the other paths that you're going to go down, maybe a little bit farther? Again, I know some people don't go to any events, not a good or bad thing, just saying it factually. And so that may, in some ways, maybe slow down, or maybe not allow people to have as much trust, per se, maybe potentially, as someone that they've been to multiple events with, and they've traveled all over the country or the world with too. There's cases to be made for both sides, for sure, but kind of just got to figure out, if you're not willing to wouldn't even say compromise, but if you're not willing to go down, like I said, one way, you got to look at, hey, how can other people get a chance to really connect with me and know who I am? That's kind of how I see it. So, not right or wrong, good or bad, but we all have to just figure out, how do we want people to interact with us or kind of remember us? That's something that we all have to kind of live by, those choices.
Yeah, and I would argue as well, Peanut. I mean, you're a great example of this. Like, you really do show up. You do put yourself out there every day. Like, you're doing 16+ hour days on shows, like really putting your voice, your brand out there, your personal brand. So yeah, I feel like I totally agree. If you're not showing up in one way, you can really show up in others as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. I want to kick it over to another friend. He's been super, super patient. I want to give him a good chance to speak for, I guess, as long as he needs. Uncuff, appreciate your patience, man. I know it's super long to get to you, but again, from your perspective, your vantage point with spaces over the last couple of months, getting more integrated into different communities, what would you say has been something that you've really kind of focused in on as you're looking to build new connections and relationships? Like what are those non-negotiables? What are different things that have really allowed you to start to build more trust with certain people?
And I'll just go ahead and say one thing. Hey Peanut, hey Rachel, everybody that's talked. I was only the third person on here, not taking over your space, but whatever, I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. Always a great time. I'll sit up here all night. It kind of gives me some responsibility to stay and listen because real life's going on outside of
That's
here,
the hard
making
part about
dinner, getting
space is
kids
staying
ready
and
for
listening.
school. But no, always a great time here, and not only that, man, I get to hear so many different perspectives, and I still think I'm going to try to take a different stance because that's just how I like to live my life. Man, for me, I don't really go into anything. I don't over promise, I guess you could say. And then even I've had a couple different profile pictures or whatever, different projects I've literally behind 2 meme coins and a few different NFT projects just because I've met and talked to the couple of people who want to support them because they're good people. But as far as me, like I've literally been on X for 2 months, and this is the only social media that I have other than keeping up with my kids' stuff on school because that's where we're at. But really trying to figure out my footing in life at almost 40 years old, 15 years in the military. I've been married for 18 years now with tons of ups and downs, and
Love that.
man, where do you even go? Trust is
A lot of
something
good
that you
marriages
are
out there, seems.
continuously building, even with the people closest in your life. I really kind of trust everybody. I know we're all humans. In the space is obviously a little bit different if you're just in the CT space. I get it. That's where you're at wanting to build that group, but I do try to jump in every different space. Whether it be entertainment, sports, news, politics, religion. I mean, I think it's super important to just be broad, and I think it's been hit the most is just show up and be yourself.
Oh.
Don't use the internet as an alter ego, right? Because
I think I just
it's so
charged my
easy to
Linux
just
box.
get on
Let's see.
here and be somebody that you're not. And that's the fastest way to lose trust is not be yourself, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. By the way, Uncup, I gave you a follow, and I have to say you have an absolutely goated bio. I just want to read this for everyone listening. The world is full of good people, and if you can't find one, be one. I love that bio. I actually commented on the space. But yeah, totally loved what you were saying, and yeah, thank you for your patience and for being here. And man, I'm like trying to recollect the different thoughts I have while you were speaking. I kind of lost it there, but really loved the gems you dropped.
I got a quick thought or additional thought off of that. Uncuff is, what would you say? What would you say? Again, not necessarily pertaining to different communities here within the crypto space, but different people in your kind of journey. Or I know you'd said you had served. What was maybe kind of flipping it originally from where I wanted to take it. So shame on me. But what would you say was the biggest thing that allowed you to have trust with, again, people that you were were serving alongside military wise? Like, and I know sometimes people hear it, and I think for each and every person, even for my dad, he served too. It's going to be different based on the people that you get enlisted with or that you go into battle with, or whatever, I guess, kind of your branch of service is. But what would you say were some of the biggest things from your time there?
I would say the biggest thing for the military side of trust is really just how can I guess a short story to be right.
Oh, here we go. I just got rugged. Thanks everybody who's watching. I just got rugged from this space. 1 second, I gotta take a little lappy loo. It'll do this. Let's listen. Refresh.
You leave your
There we
group of
go.
people, right? So you have to
This
learn
happens from time to time.
not
Shout out to all of
only
you who are
to
watching me.
trust
I don't know why, but welcome to the
other
madness.
people, but to trust
I'll
yourself
probably
to lead
live
the
stream
same
in
people
about a
that
couple
yesterday
hours
was your
again
peer.
to do my reaction streams, just
And
to
that's what I think a lot of
clear my
people
mind and laugh.
that
If
don't
that's
get to
you,
experience
would
that
love to see
don't
you
have
back
an
here in a couple
understanding
hours.
of, like, yesterday we were cutting it up and making jokes about, you know, the a-hole E5 that we didn't like,
This
the
is
sergeant we
Gallery
didn't
Meets
like, and
Media.
I get promoted tomorrow and now I'm a E5. And now
Not to mute Unc Hoffman. Shout out to Unc Hoffman. Unc Huff, sorry. This is, if you don't know, I do strategic operations for On-Chain Media. It's one of the jobs that I do have. So this is our CEO and founder Rachel's joint space with the great Peanut. Amazing Spaces host. They do this every Tuesday at, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, this is Gallery Meets Media, episode 7. This one's about trust. Really good one, actually. Really enjoying it.
something else. It was absolutely nothing personal to you or your project or what you're working on, or just gossip came and you didn't even like give somebody the opportunity or chance to just say, hey, I'm going through life just like you are. And that's how I try to look at all of my relationships and friendships and with my wife, is we're all trying to get better and grow. And I just try not to take anything personally. Like if it's a personal dig at me, like I'll take a step back and be like, dude, what's going on in life? Like talk to me. Like it's too easy, you know, not wake up in the morning. I try not to go to bed mad. And we've talked about this in a couple other spaces. Like anger was a big thing for me. Almost cost me my marriage. Like definitely have not an estranged relationship with my kids at, 13, 15, and 16. But when you lose somebody's trust and you have to regain trust, it makes it a lot easier to trust everybody else. For me, in my personal opinion.
Appreciate you sharing that. I have always found that there's a very, very raw and real perspective that I get to hear from individuals like yourself, or I know because as someone else who is also spent time in the military. My dad spent time in the Marines. My dad also spent time in the Marines.
You
I know
can't see it,
a
but
couple other people here in the
my
space
other
too that have
box
also
is
again been a
updating,
Marine
'cause
as
I
well.
clicked
And
the wrong button, so it's updating the
and it goes
entire
for
operating system, so
anyone,
can't really
any
work on
branch
my
of
other
service too.
project
Just
right now.
being able to put yourself out there and hold yourself to a certain standard or level. And as you said too, I mean, you're competing, but also at the same time, there's a very kind of like intense battle. I know, I'm sure that's probably going on with each and every person that gets in listen. It's like, again, you're trying to be there to protect the person that's to your left, to your right, whoever you're doing said tasks with. I mean, again, whether it's in active war zone or again even other roles and focuses, it's still there to be a team, to come together, just as much as, again, you were saying, there's that competitive spirit to to work your way up in the ranks as well. And it's interesting, again, how that kind of that situation, or that, I'm trying to think of the word and it's eluding me right now, but how you can have that kind of moment in time and there's such a deep level of trust and respect for one another. Not always, but
well, I think, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think a real big thing too is really just personal vulnerability is a huge builder of trust, right? Like putting yourself out there in the open and being vulnerable. And, me and my wife talk about this sometimes, is like, I'm really okay with sharing my story and my shortfalls and, hitting rock bottom, because that is who I am today. And I don't want anybody else to be there. I don't want anybody to have to go through that. But I know that she was hurt in that process, right? So I understand her side of things.
So there you go. If you want to join our Telegram, please do. T.me/OnChain Media Co. or just OnChain Media Co. when you check inside Telegram. Would love to have you. More than 1,000 members in the last 2 years who joined us.
And just know that you learn from it, right? That's what mistakes are for, is to learn from them and get up and keep moving forward. But becoming vulnerable, it just opens yourself up to just know that I'm not in it just for me.
Damn. Yeah. And there's like I said, there's something so unique that I think yourself and again other individuals that serve, you get to feel on a completely different level, the environment that you're in, and then again, I think that's just where for a lot of us too who aren't maybe ever in that type of situation or environment, we get to see, hey, there's a totally different side, or there's a completely different meaning, or a deeper meaning there too, where you can see firsthand, like, hey, these people sacrificed time, invested it back into serving this country. And man, I mean, you got to have trust with the person, again, to your left, to your right, who's in front of you, behind you. Otherwise, that's the quickest way for things to go south. So you get to experience it on again, completely different level. Still, again, overlapping to what we're talking about here, but always fun, again, to learn from yourself. And again, as I was saying earlier, just individuals who serve, regardless of the branch of military or wherever you serve. It's always fun, again, to hear I would say inspiring, probably not fun always. Some of my word choices are not the most proper, but it's, like I said, it's inspiring just to hear, the different stories, the different times that really stick out to you, and hopefully there's more and more that we can continue to take away from yourself and those that can share from those personal experiences and times as well. So I love it, man. Always wonderful to have you up here, and again, I think that's cool for a lot of people here too who maybe have spent longer months of time in this space to be connected to more and more people like yourself that are just starting their journey here and are able to bring yourself and others in, and give some insight, give some firsthand experiences. I mean, that's everything when just starting out and wanting to be around the right people and not getting led astray or going down a path that could lead to more lessons than victories in the initial or kind of short term and medium term. So yeah, lots of great people to learn from. But Rachel, go ahead. I know you may be strapped for time, you may have to jump.
Honestly, I'm trying to knock out a little work here, for tonight. But yeah, my mind. I just have all these thoughts and ideas popping up from everyone's great things y'all are sharing. But something I wanted to talk about. Well, first thing was good news, Peanut. We have actually surpassed 50 people on the show, you guys. We got 54 people here. We're up to 70 comments. So thank you for helping us hit our goal tonight, you guys.
Thank you for
and yeah,
joining.
let's keep it
Hopefully
going.
you hit the
I'm trying
purple
to pay attention to the comments in real time when they're coming through. Shout out to folks like Kelly Miller, who have been engaging a lot in the comments. I see One-Eyed Willie is here as well. Waldo, we got a lot of our friends, Kitty in the comments as well. And yeah, just grateful for each and every one of you that show up for these every week. So yeah, just to kind of reset the room a little bit, I want to acknowledge some of the new folks that have come up on the stage rather. We have One-Eyed Willie, we got Luca Cicero as well, so maybe we can kick it over in that order. And yeah, anyone else that hasn't gotten a chance to speak, I see some more requests up, so yeah, we'll try to get more folks up here.
Yeah, we actually haven't gotten to hear from Luca yet. So I want to kick it over to Luca, who's up on stage. Haven't gotten to.
Guys, I do have a hard out.
Hear
I'll be
from
back in a couple
him
hours
in the
to
past.
I'll be back in a couple hours to stream. I'm gonna do a little reaction stream. I have some things to do, and I do need to put my kids to bed. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and spend some time with them while I continue my work here. And we'll be back in a little bit. So thanks for watching the stream. Hopefully you've been enjoying the talk with Peanut. Peanut's one of the best hosts for spaces in this industry. Same thing, of course, with Rachel, our CEO and founder at OnChain Media. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys later. Do check out, if you're watching me on X, go to my X, You can check out the link to the space there for Gallery Meets Media. This is being done every Tuesday. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. And it goes on as long as it goes on. They have great topics that they talk about. This week it's about trust. Definitely check out the recording. And we'll see you next time.